We shall see what's beyond. Here I would like to take some time to write about my newest song entitled We Shall See What's Beyond. At first I thought I should call it Belinda and Samuel, since those are the names of the main characters in the song, and for a while I was convinced that was the best title it could have because it contrasted with and personalized the song's epic themes so nicely. But this new title, despite being less folky and less fun, really sums up the feeling that I want to convey in the song. It really sums up the reason why it was written. And let me tell you, this song speaks to me in the most profound of ways. I adore it. I feel that I wrote it exclusively for myself. I feel fully engaged in it. I could say that it's one of the songs that I've written that is truest to myself. And musically it is quite simple indeed. But all of the parts are magical. They're all so Celtic inspired and mysterious and carry the melody of the lyrics so well. I'm proud of that song, even if no one else loves it as much as I do. The lyrics are sung in the soprano register. I've never written a song with such high vocals throughout. But I demoed the first few verses, and they are beautiful. I think that my soprano register is referred to as lyric soprano. In some ways, I think my singing voice is beautiful, especially considering the extensiveness of my range. I can even sing bass to some degree. But anyway, I am so proud of the song and I am still working on the phrasing, trying to make the remaining verses flow just as much as the first few. Update. Appears to be working is complete. The first fully recorded piece from my own Paradigm in Time. What a riot that song is, at a little over 20 minutes long. I am still debating over whether or not the second half of the song is missing something, though, or if I should accept it as purely and rhythmically meditative. I'm going to listen to it maybe once or twice more and then write down some definitive notes below. So, once this is done, I'll be on to record the spectacular Fairy in the Rain, and then on to, perhaps, a Rash Bowman. Paradigm in Time will likely be a lifelong endeavor. The only thing I can do about that, therefore, is engage in it as fully as I'm able. I already have produced a lifelong amount of work. It is important that I work as diligently as possible on this project so that I can record every song in the collection. Every album that I've planned needs to one day be completed for my personal artistic fulfillment. With that being addressed, what's the next step? Tasks. Complete the recording of Rash Bowman. Then, Fairy in the Rain. Gravity won't crush the lotus flowers on Luna's mane. Tales from Marshy Meadow. You'd better be brilliant or else. 5:17:15. The slowed, EQ'd, wah-wah'd, pitch-lowered track layered under my guitar in a Rash Bowman sounds so violently unhappy, so sincerely anguished, so pained. It is a very ancient pain, and it turned out even more beautifully than I ever could have imagined. Final notes for a Rash Bowman, Part 1. Needs vocal track, of course. Needs outside ambience, birds twittering in background. Needs pounding percussion track. Maybe beatboxing. 5:22:15. A Rash Bowman is complete. As of yesterday, I have completed all vocals, percussion and beatboxing, and ambiences to great effect. I am very, very proud of myself. And I love the dynamics and dimensions of the song. Absolutely splendid. It's a bit cluttered sounding, though, and there may not be much I can do to help that. But anyway, here are my penultimate notes. Trim up beats of beatbox track, or just fade them in. Add bass? Actually, no. I think that would compartmentalize the beat and cause it to drown out the rhythm, guitar, and vocal subtleties. That's it! I now declare this track finished. 5:23:15. Released at last. 5:24:15. On to the next thing. 5:25:15. The next song I will record will be A Tale from Marshy Meadow, which is a song I wrote not too long ago. First, I'll focus on some pre-recording notes. Make sure that in the vocal delivery of the first half of this song that you sustain the notes as much as possible, from the end of one line into the beginning of the next. I found that it sounds best this way when sung over the riff. accent riff with an overdub of slide guitar in a high octave. 6-1-15. As usual, I have given myself too much to handle, and my overactive creativity has yet again worked both in and against my favor. So, here's my latest short-term plan. First, let's start with the basic to-do list. Invest in replacement monitoring headphones. Update Facebook, Twitter, and Tumblr. Finish writing and recording Gravity Won't Crush the Lotus Flowers on Luna's Mane, Song of Marshy Meadow, recording plans and song profiles for each, and memorize. And now, for the order. Update social media sites. Post a video on Facebook, a music update to Tumblr asking for donations, and a tweet of Arash Bowman and Ice Cream Cake by Red Velvet. Research headphone costs, and then review your song profile for Song of Marshy Meadow. Okay, go! 6-19-15. Yesterday's recording of Black. I've become invested in yet another detour. I've accidentally made a cover version of Pearl Jam's beautiful tragedy, Black, as I've always wanted to do one. I'll upload it to my SoundCloud and share it on Twitter and the like. Then I'll get back to my Song of Marshy Meadow production plans. It's taking too long. It's been almost a month since my last release. When you have the degree of material that I do, 1 month might as well be 6. 6-20-15. I imposed an arbitrary holiday upon myself. I asked my friend what her favorite number was. She said 5 or 3 or 7. And you see, the song Gravity Won't Crush the Lotus Flowers on Luna's Mane was written for her, and I had also promised to make her a charm necklace of sorts. So I decided to add up her numbers, 15, and use it as a deadline for submitting her gifts next month. I also decided to dedicate the 3rd, 5th, and 7th of next month to being her own personal holidays, during which I will focus only on my gifts to her. I've decided to tie it all to my whole pantheistic worldview / spirituality, so that should help me get it done. So I guess the only problem is my plan to record Song of Marshy Meadow, so I'll probably have to draw all my plans out with a schedule. 7-23-15. I am so close! Yesterday I recorded my first demo of Gravity Won't Crush the Lotus Flowers on Luna's Mane, and even though it is a rather bad demo and recorded on my phone, it's good enough for a sketch, and it's at least something. I have added some parts of the song since recording it too. I noticed that my mood brightened significantly once the demo was finished. It gives me peace of mind, in part, to know that I now have that sort of reference. As with most of my music, learning and recording the song seems to be taking a rather long time, but that's okay. It is still progress. I will not complain. 8-17-15. I need help. It is too much. It has always been too much. But I can manage it. I will have to. My soul needs rest. But it will never be at rest unless I am able to manage my artistic pursuits more efficiently. It's all taking too long, and I'm too often waiting. I need to take action. I'm going to buy those headphones soon, and then I'm going to really start recording Gravity, which I just recently memorized completely. It is time. 8-26-15. Specifics for recording Gravity. Now that I am very much ready to begin recording sessions for Gravity, and since I've taken time to experiment with the different possible instruments and tones that would suit the song, I have arrived to the following conclusions. Unlike originally planned, I will not record this song in a single take. It requires far too many sounds and thus multiple guitar changes. In fact, I will use all 3 guitars in the song. Currently, due to age and gauge of strings, as well as the quality and build of my 3 main guitars, Hummix, No Name, Diamond, the guitars have the following tonal characteristics. Hummix, deep, rich, bassy, heavy. No Name, classic acoustic guitar sound, bright, clean, and shimmering, breathy. RJ, aka Diamond, deep, dark, rich, powdery, chalky, sparkly, a guitar / strings with the timbre of a piano. Different parts of the song shall be played with the 3 instruments in takes. Refer to composition for each designated part. 9, 10, 15. Gravity Recording Sessions, Part 1. I am returned now for an hour-and-a-half long recording session of Gravity. This session also marks the first in the series. Here are a few notes on what I learned. It can be extremely frustrating to press the record button and play a part that you have not yet practiced or warmed up for. To save time, reduce excessive takes, and preserve mental stamina, practice difficult parts beforehand and practice them until you are a pro at playing them. Do not put a preventable roadblock in your workflow. Mentally memorizing and physically memorizing something are two terribly different and codependent things. In preparation of your next session, make sure to check yourself. Are both modes in balance? You may know the arrangement, but this does not mean you can play the song just as well. You realize that it's more important as well as more sonically appealing to you when a song seamlessly grows and evolves from a production perspective as opposed to sounding consistent throughout. This can only truly be achieved by recording the songs in various takes with multiple instruments so that you hear different tones and ambiances throughout. Fluidity and cohesiveness are somewhat sacrificed in this way. But for this song, it is a fitting approach as long as you make sure the vocal is done as consistently as possible. Try not to work for more than an hour and a half at a time. You found that for this particular song, actually, simply listen to your mind and stop for a break as soon as you start to feel exhausted. Notes on behalf of Gravity Won't Crush the Lotus Flower on Luna's Mane. First draft, skeleton draft. The sustained vocal note intro is a bit too loud. Make sure to check your notes in the lyrics doc to see the editing process. The intro should be turned up louder. Hummix is too highly concentrated in the left channel in part 2. The rest of the song just needs to be turned up and have reverb added. The chord progressions might benefit from an EQing. I see what I must do. I must create seamless transitions by playing each instrument into the next section. Don't just drop out sounds or guitars unless the sequence is seamless. So far, the biggest problem is that the music needs to be, or seem, louder. Since you recorded every track in stereo, make 3 versions of each track, one centered middle and the other 2 pan left and right respectively. This will make the music stand out as much as possible, and you should be able to keep the volume of each track at 0 since the sound will seem fuller. You'll end up with a lot of tracks for the skeleton, about 24, but they'll be short and hopefully not too hard to keep up with. We shall see. Time to experiment. Notes, Part 2. The vocal track has been added. Turn the vocals down in the mix by about 6 dB. 9, 18, 15. Finally finished with most of the overdubs and mixing of Gravity. I just need to add reverb to some of the tracks and do perhaps a bit of EQing. This song was truly a learning curve. Learned so much about compression and equalization, as well as how reverb works. Not to mention, this was the first song that I play majorly with my fingers. I'm very glad to have learned so much. Intro plus Song 1, Gravity, Notes, 2, 9, 18, 15. Put a slower fade in on opening vocals so that they meld with the drone. Put slight reverb on Song 1. Put up a fade in the start of Song 2 vocals. Put in a fade in at start of Song 1 vocals. Timpani on We Ourselves, etc. Fade out vocal track so that it's less abrupt when it cuts out. Fade in vocal track. Add reverb to vocals over arpeggios. Song 3, post reverb on up. Post reverb on riff 1. Put reverb on chorus vocals. Put reverb on oohs. Add reverb on bouncy end of arpeggios only. Put very heavy reverb on last harmonic of the song. Notes again! Check Freesound's website for the digitize sound clips in editing. Consider beatboxing over song. Choose arpeggiated power chord sequence. Elongates bass synth ambience between vocal intro and guitar intro. Harmonies already naturally there. Add a little pinprick treble, slightly tinkling note to the kiss. I think I'll have about 1 hour to get my final recordings done. Here's my plan. Listen to the song, gather SD cards and field recorder, plus head to kitchen to record crystal. Record in closet, head to din and record timpani and tambourine. Warm up for 10 minutes, then record the in vocalizations. 9:22:15. Gravity is complete. 10:17:15. Unmixed meadow tracks. Yesterday I did some recording work for Song of Marshy Meadow, so now I'm going to do an honest critique. Although I have not yet started the mixing stages, the music that I have so far feels too beatboxed around the keyboard melody. Originally I had wanted to record this using a bass guitar, but the only one that I have has proven damaged and impossible to play well. If I can somehow fix it, I think it might be in the song's best interest to re-record that part with the bass. Otherwise, polarize the melody a bit more on both channels and bury it deeper with the main guitar riff of the song. The guitar riff itself needs to be louder in the mix. The beatboxing, of course, needs to be blunted with compression and equalized. Make it less breathy and as percussive as possible. I purposely blew into the mic, however, to create the basis of the percussions. The song still needs its solo and vocals, as well as proper chord harmonization in the final section. When I listen to what I have so far, I am reminded of Led Zeppelin's Friends and Black Sabbath's The Writ. So listen to these if you need a break or inspiration. Make sure that you include claps on every downbeat during the solo section. The Song of Marshy Meadow. Remaining batch of tracks. Marshy Meadow is very much on the verge of being finished. However, there are still several things left to complete. Here's a list of all that remains. Guitar solo. Turn amp up. Turn recording volume down. Second verse vocal overdubs. Starting at third, endlessly trying. Play the open plus power chord down strums and then play its melody. Refer to audio voice 033 in your Galaxy phone. Refer to the above section. You will add all percussion, including the downbeat bass drum timpani accents, to the start of each chord change and beatboxing throughout. Again, for all of the references, refer to voice 033. Record bass guitar for the in chord progression. Refer to voice 034. Still recording Marshy Meadow. 11:19:15. I had no idea that recording the solo for Marshy Meadow would turn out to be so difficult. I've recorded so many takes today, but they're either too quiet or have distorted notes from the mics being too overdriven. I think I may have found the sweet spot though. Recording volume at 70, amp volume clean at 2.5 with the high tone knob set to 8, mid to 3.5, and low to 3. I've discovered that you really have to bring the highs out in some solos to hear them the best. I just recorded a pretty good take. Now for a few more. I don't want this solo to sound pristine. Kind of tumbling and rugged, actually. I think this new batch of takes will do the trick. Compress and turn up main verse guitar riff. Add reverb to vocals, compress percussion, beatbox, put a long fade out on the high note segue, double up the guitar solo track and offset them slightly for a chorus effect, add reverb to percussion, add reverb to vocals. Record the in chord progressions with diamond acoustically, re-record overdubs to include I'm in each endlessly trying phrase, turn down vocals and mix. The Song of Marshy Meadow, final draft notes. Opening riff could potentially use a bass boost and compression. Turn down the honky-tonk piano just a bit in the first verse, especially the tracks originating in the right channel. Turn up chord progression under the solo, turn down chords, turn down shuffle percussion under the solo, put second verse riff more in left channel, it sounds mono. Turn down end honky-tonk but not the solo, Turn down the in cacophony of voices and split them over the LR polar channels. Turn down or eliminate in beatbox or fade it in over the last 4 bars. Turn shuffle percussion up 1 notch or 2. Turn verse 2 endlessly trying overdubs down. Turn up voices in mono in the track on the last note of the piano solo. Turn up bass in the last section. Either put a quick fade in or reduce the volume of the first beatbox in the last verse. Trim some of the tracks to get rid of any unwanted excess sounds. 11:26:15. I've done it! The Song of Marshy Meadow is now complete. Marshy Meadow Reflections and What's Next. 11:27:15. One of the most annoying things about recording Marshy Meadow was that I had to record so many different parts and overdubs as separate individual tracks. This was annoying mainly because I had to sit through the whole song each time, and if I messed up the take, I would have to start over and listen through the whole song again until I reached the part where I needed to be. I know it's a function on my multi-track recorder that allows me to start recording from any point in the song. I've done it before. But for some reason, I haven't been able to find that setting again. I suppose I'll just have to do a bit of research on it. But not having it made the whole process pretty frustrating, to say the least. It's something that I need to figure out as soon as possible. So, with that said, what's next? I believe that it is now time to record Fairy in the Rain. Alright, Lauren. It's no secret that you have some serious plans for yourself. So let's hear them. Let's get it all out. Here's your call to action. Friday, 12/4/15. You've been feeling pretty foggy lately, a result of not eating enough, listening to music before bed, overstimulating your mind. You awaken with a lack of clarity and focus. You're not breathing as well as you should be. So no more music falling asleep. Eat sufficient meals from now on each day. You will drive yourself insane if you don't. Another thing? I get that you're taking this one thing at a time approach, but you honestly need to do multiple things at once, multiple projects at any given time, or at least don't sit around doing nothing when you could be working on something else. You need to be writing your novel in between writing and working on music. And when you've got some downtime at work, use it to really get to work. Do technical research. Contemplate career moves. Break this dreaded cycle. Remember also that you need to take better care of yourself. Find a psychiatrist. You desperately need to see a doctor to aid in your mental illness episodes. You need help and have needed help for most of your life. So take care of yourself, please. And finally, for now, it's time for you to take a stand in terms of embracing your identity. Do not be afraid of yourself anymore. Do not play it safe anymore. This is who you are. Be you. Now. Do it. Do it. I'm tired of feeling locked away by time. This is my life. And starting today and right now, I'm going to live it. It is my time, and I will be it and know it. My latest P&T project has been a combined cover version of Achilles' Last Stand by Led Zeppelin and Nantucket Sleigh Ride to Owen Coffin by Mountain, the latter of which being one of my all-time favorite songs. I feel so empowered and inspired whenever I listen to it. I guess it appeals very strongly to my adventurousness. Anyway, my goal is to finish recording both this song and Fairy in the Rain before year's end. Ideally, I would release Fairy first, even though it's much more a song for late summer/early fall, and Achilles/Nantucket right before New Year's. Fairy is the last song that will be recorded as part of my 2015 wave, which also includes A Paris to Be Working, Gravity Won't Crush the Lotus Flowers on Luna's Mane, and the Song of Marshy Meadow. I very much need to finish it before year's end for my own cathartic reasons and for the sake of creative, mental, and emotional clarity. So, needless to say, I must devise a plan to do so. I have but 15 days, and of those days, only about 3 to actually practice and record the songs. So I can learn and master both songs within a single day and record them in another 2 or so days. I should be finished before Christmas even. Actually, no. I want to release Achilles before Fairy in the Rain. Yes! And I want to release Fairy in the Rain by New Year's Eve and Achilles at least 2 days before.